next time you are thinking about how little the respect the younger generation pays or how slow members of the older generation are, stop and take a look around your office. Recent human resources studies have found that Canadian workplaces now employ up to 4 generations. That's the potential for more than a 40-year age gap. Annemarie Shrouder, founder and president of Toronto's Building Equitable Environments, spoke to ILStv about the trend and how big an issue it is today in the workplace.
Yeah, it's becoming a bigger issue since they changed the retirement age, and with the economy the way it is, more people have to stay in the workplace longer. It's one of those not so much a hidden diversity, but a not as visible diversity, I think, in some ways, because people do think of culture usually first, and gender to some extent. But yeah, age is we don't talk about it as much, but it's big. Any of the differences that we see in any type of diversity, but in age diversity, can be a bonus for the company, or can really create friction and miscommunication. It's how you handle it. I think the biggest benefit that I see is that you have different perspectives. Depending on how old we are, we have different ways of working, different priorities, and we see the world differently, we experience the world differently. So that's going to translate into what's important to me, how I do my work, and in a business that has face-to-face interaction with clients, that's huge, because you're going to be able to connect with clients that are in your same generation in a different way than you may connect with clients of a different generation. Those different perspectives can translate into, moving the company forward into new directions, can translate into how we market, who we reach, how we provide customer service and service to our clients, how we do our work, can translate into more efficiency. But again, it's how you use those differences, how you use those different perspectives. If they're acknowledged in the workplace, then you reap the benefits. If they're not acknowledged in the workplace, then those benefits become negatives.
Annemarie says working in a multi-generational workplace has its upsides, but it has its challenges as well. In terms of dealing with the different generations all at once, sometimes a bit of reflection is needed.
I think the most important thing from my perspective and the way that we do our work here is just awareness. If you are aware of those differences, if you're aware of, the different perspectives and the different ways of working and the ways of looking at work and the ways of looking at the world of those different ages, that's the first step. So, I'm a Generation X, so, I'm aware of what's important to me in the workplace and how I'd like to work and, the ways that I want to communicate and all those types of subtle nuances that, create the worker that I am. And then I need to, especially as a manager, be aware of, okay, who else is working for me? Do I have any Gen Ys or millennial generation? Do I have any baby boomers? Do I have any of the traditionalists, which are, older than baby boomers, but they're still around in some companies? Once we're aware of who's working with us, then, and aware of, the similarities and differences between me and let's say my team, then we can start having those conversations and explore different ways of doing things. I think we have to remember that we're not, if we're managing a diverse group, older and younger, say, in this case, it's not just our job as managers to know everything. I think it's our job as managers to create an environment where people can talk and share what's important to them, so we can understand each other better, not just manager to employee, but employee to employee. And once that context is created, then we all have a responsibility to support learning about each other and finding ways to make it work. It's not just the manager's job to do that. Definitely the manager's responsibility to set the tone and create that environment where that can happen. I think the biggest stumbling block for any type of diversity is the rigidness of an organizational culture. This is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to continue to do it. And there's no discussion about it. There's no shining a light on it and examining, why are we doing it this way? Is it still working? Are there other ways we can do it? Maybe not all the time, but, can we be flexible? That's the biggest stumbling block. So in order to be able to have those conversations, you need to develop that awareness. self-awareness and awareness of others so that you can acknowledge the difference and then start to talk about it and work with it.
When it comes to hiring, should companies be actively looking to create a multi-generational office? A lot depends on your workplace.
Well, here's the tricky part. You can be actively looking for anybody, but if your environment isn't going to support that diversity, you're no better off. In fact, you could be worse off. So my recommendation is always that in addition to trying to be more diverse, companies need to become more inclusive.